Hey, what's going on, guys? War Brothers Collectibles here. Welcome back to another video. So, with the recent release of Jurassic World Rebirth, I decided I would actually try and sit down and try and rank all the Jurassic movies. Now, I love this entire franchise. As you guys know on this channel, I'm a huge fan of the Jurassic Park series. So, I love every one of these films. I enjoy them for what they are, each film in the entire series, all 7 movies. So, I'm not going to say I hate this film or I dislike that film. I enjoy them all thoroughly, individually. So in this list, I'm not going to rank it worst to best. It's just going to be personally my least favorite in this series for various reasons. And then I'll work my way up to favorite film in the series. So without further ado, let's get started. So number 7 on this list is actually just going to be Jurassic Park 3 as my least favorite in the series. Now, there's certainly elements of this film that I enjoy thoroughly. The return of Sam Neill, of course, Alan Grant. I'm a massive fan of that character, and I love Sam Neill as an actor. I read his autobiography. I think he's a brilliant actor, and I was so happy that he was back in this film as he seemed to be missing. And even Sam Neill himself said he felt like left out of the Lost World. So it was great to see Sam Neill back. The Aviary scene with the pteranodons, and that is just a great sequence, probably the best in the entire film. And the raptor chase through the laboratory, again, awesome sequence. So there's certainly things that I like about this film, but I just want to rank it number 7 on this list because my least favorite in the series, because I'm just not a big fan of the story overall. Like, to me, it does nothing to add to the first trilogy of, like, it does nothing to add to that world, the overall bigger story. Like, it's got nothing really to do with InGen or anything like that, and anything else to do with the InGen Corporation, and it's not really a continuation of the Lost World in that regard, like what happened after the Lost World to InGen and things like that. It's just literally, arguably, a standalone story. Yes, Dr. Grant returns, but it's about family. A little lad that goes parasail. I say little lad, 12-year-old goes parasailing over Isla Sorna and gets stranded there. So it's about his parents trying to find him. So it's about reuniting a family. And that's a nice sentiment, of course, bringing a divided family back together to find their son. And obviously bringing Dr. Grant back into it was a great touch and it was needed, in my opinion. Um, I just think it does nothing for me to add to that world that the first two films built up on, and it just sort of ends, and you're like, well, what's the future hold? Like, it just leaves some sort of uncertainty in the air about various things. So that's why it's just my least favorite. I'm not really a big fan of the story in Jurassic Park 3, but it does have some amazing action sequences. So again, I'm not going to say I hate this film. It's just ranks number 7 on this list in particular. Next up on this list is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I put it at number 6 because it's just the one. I find the story more interesting than Jurassic Park 3, but it's the one that I certainly watch the least. I don't really return to this film an awful lot. It's still certainly again got some great moments. The volcano erupting on Isla Nublar, but saying that, you know, they say it was like thought to be long dormant, but surely if they built the original Jurassic Park on that island, they would have knew about that volcano, back then. And then when they built Jurassic World, it was never mentioned before, so it was just kind of like completely out of the blue that, oh, by the way, there's a volcano on the island and it's going to erupt soon. So does that mean it would have erupted at some point if Jurassic Park was successful or Jurassic World, then it would have devastated the island anyway. So I just think that element to the story wasn't really necessary. Yeah, I know they wanted to do something different, like they literally blow up the island and bring everything back to the mainland. But I just think the whole volcano thing was not really necessary. Um, but it's an awesome action sequence nonetheless. It's so great visuals and it's a really thrilling part of the movie. and then things start to sort of slow down to the Lockwood estate, and it's this big underground auctioning off dinosaurs and hybrids, and you've got that Raptor, which is pretty terrifying. And it goes all like gothic horror, and I really like the ending of that film where it's just the chase through the mansion, and they go through like the natural history museum of the mansion. I think that's a great moment. And of course, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt are great as always in this film. You know, they're great in the Jurassic Park series as a whole. But I just don't really return to this movie that much. I kind of forget about it, and then when I do watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's good. But and I do certainly prefer it over Jurassic Park 3. But for some reason, yeah, I just don't really find myself returning to Fallen Kingdom that much. So I was torn between for this next film. I was torn between Dominion and Jurassic World Rebirth. So at number 5 on this list, I've actually put Jurassic World Dominion. Now a lot of people I know, of course, hate this movie. They think it's the worst in the entire series, everyone's least favorite, at least. But I always enjoyed this film ever since I saw it in the cinema. You know, I couldn't wait to get the Blu-ray, and then when I got the Blu-ray, we had this extended cut, which added more scenes with Alan and Ellie and a different opening, if I remember correctly. The entire movie opens differently. Um, it actually opens back in the past, 65 million years ago, in the Cretaceous period, which has never been done before. Which that was pretty cool to see. But I just love the reintroduction of bringing back the original cast, Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler, and of course Dr. Malcolm. I think that was a welcome return for all those characters, and I didn't mind the story about the locusts. Oh, it's just got to do with locusts, nothing to do with it's a rubbish story. But I didn't mind that because it was something different. We hadn't seen that before. And yes, there were dinosaurs in it, but it was about this ecological collapse of the ecosystem, and it was um, I just enjoyed that, and it was great to see the two generations of characters come together and finally meet. And I think although he was woefully miscast, I think it was a cool idea to bring Dodgson back to the story. I just don't think he's played necessarily very well. Um, but Jurassic World Dominion, I don't have a problem with that film. I probably find myself watching it. Well, I do actually watch it more than Fallen Kingdom. We watched it just recently, and I haven't got a problem with the film. We watch the theatrical and the extended versions. We alternate each time, and yeah, I think it's a good film. I might be a minority on that, but I do enjoy Jurassic World Dominion. Then number 4 on this list is Jurassic World Rebirth, of course, the new film. I've got a review on this channel, guys, so if you've not checked out that video, you can see my initial, just out of cinema, kind of initial reactions to that film. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, yes, it started incredibly slowly. It took a while for the story to pick up and get going, but once it did, I really enjoyed it. And of course, I have read The Lost World. It's been a couple of years, but I reread the sort of a plot summary of the Lost World novel by Michael Crichton. And because when I was watching Rebirth, I did notice that there was a lot of Lost World references. And then when I've gone and reread this plot summary of Lost World, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, it's essentially the Lost World novel. Like, it's so similar. And I thought that was a really cool aspect. Now, I know only hardcore fans will be aware of that. And I know a lot of people are not enjoying Jurassic World Rebirth at the moment. Maybe the opinions will change in the future. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I enjoyed it. It was a good story in my opinion, and I do believe that if this was to be the end of the franchise, it's a good way to end it. You know, as I'm not going to leave any spoilers in this video, but I think the story ended perfectly, so there doesn't need to be any more. But who knows, guys? Only box office dollars will tell us of the if there's going to be a sequel. So yeah, Jurassic World Rebirth is number 4 on this list, and I really enjoyed it. Coming into the final 3 now is going to be The Lost World at number 3. Um, I have big fond memories of this film. It was the first film I ever got on VHS, whether I got it for Christmas or one of my parents just bought it me when we were out shopping and I saw it. Because I didn't own Jurassic Park 1 on VHS or anything like that. It was just watched whenever it was on TV. I think my dad recorded it on VHS We did eventually get it when we moved to DVD, but The Lost World was the actual first Jurassic movie that I got on a home media platform. So as a kid, I absolutely loved The Lost World. Love the idea of another island. No fences, and they're just going in. And then I love the character of Roland Tembo, played brilliantly by Pete Postlethwaite. Great actor and a great character. Um, I love that cameo by Richard Attenborough, John Hammond. It does a lot of things right, but it is completely, I say completely different. It is very different to the novel. It just takes the very basic idea of two groups going to Isla Sorna um, with their own different agendas, and then it just follows that basic storyline with the trailer sequence and a T Rex breaking its leg, the baby Rex breaking its leg, and so it follows the novel very loosely, but it's still a hell of an adventure. It's so thrilling that the trailer sequence where the T Rexes attack the trailers. I remember being so excited seeing that as a child. Couldn't wait to get my figures out and my trucks and recreate that scene. Just it is a good film. I know a lot of people are up and down with The Lost World, and I am too. I think like sometimes I really love it, and then I just think yeah, it's okay. It could have been better, but in terms of this list, it's got to be number three. You know, I do enjoy The Lost World, although I do think Sam Neill was well the character. Let's say the character of Alan Grant should have been in it more so than Malcolm, but Michael Crichton had his reasons for bringing Malcolm back. And of course, Jeff Goldblum is always brilliant anyway. So, uh, more than happy to see him return. I just wish the overall story would have had more ties to the original than it did. So, number two is actually going to be Jurassic World for me. The hype for this movie was absolutely incredible. We hadn't had a Jurassic movie since, was it 2001 was the third film? So it had been many, many years. So it was totally welcome to have a new film in the franchise. And I remember the trailers coming out saying the park is open, and then something goes wrong, and he's like, evacuate the island. And the trailer got me so pumped. And then I think I went opening day to see it in IMAX, and just sheer joy of when he goes up into the hotel room and opens the patio doors, and it pans out to a shot over the park, and that Jurassic Park theme kicks in, John Williams theme kicks in. I remember tearing up. I got so emotional. It was so exciting, and it was just so amazing to see that this franchise had come back in such a big way. And I just think it's a great film. It's thrilling, it's exciting, great characters, great dinosaurs. I was against the idea of training velociraptors, but once I saw the film, it actually works really well, and I really enjoyed that part of the story. And yeah, so Jurassic World, I think is absolutely brilliant, and it does rank as number two on my list of ranking the series. Number one, guys, is of course my favorite film in the franchise. Is of course Jurassic Park, the original movie. What can I say about this film that's not been said a million times before? It's absolutely amazing. It's one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. Certainly one of my favorite childhood movies. Of course, love dinosaurs. Love the idea of going to a Jurassic Park, and I think I watched it like every week at one point as a child. Certainly when we got it on DVD. Um, Whenever my sister was out at dance class or horse riding, I was at home with my dad. I'd always put Jurassic Park on. I've watched it many, many times over the years, and I never get tired of it. It's one of those films that I can just throw on at any time and still have an amazing time with it. I saw it in 2013 for the 20th anniversary release. That was in 3D. I'll never forget that experience. That was intense. That was one of the best experiences I've ever had in a 3D IMAX cinema. Considering it was never shot in 3D, it was absolutely out of this world. And then I recently went. I think it was 2023, the 30th anniversary. Yeah, I went back to the cinema to see it again. This time it was in 2D, but it was still an amazing experience to see it on the big screen. I'll always go back and watch Jurassic Park whenever I get re-released. I never get tired of that film. So yeah, so just to recap, guys, my list of Jurassic Park movies ranked from least favorite to most favorite of the entire series. is number 7 is going to be Jurassic Park 3. Number 6 is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. 5 is Dominion. Number 4 is Jurassic World Rebirth. And then my top 3 has got to be The Lost World, Jurassic World, and then, of course, the original Jurassic Park. Films are subjective, guys, so you probably don't agree with this list. You may agree with the list, you may not. You know, everyone's opinion is different, and everyone enjoys these films for various different reasons and in different ways. So if you like this video, guys, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Please check out my playlist of Jurassic Park Toy Edition. I have such a great time making those videos. I have an absolute blast, and it's so exciting to see you guys watching them and enjoying them. So please check them out, guys, if you haven't done so already. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you soon in the next video. Take care.